as you probably know, DC has had a lot of issues on their hands recently with Amber Heard and Ezra Miller, and now it seems like they are shelving the Batgirl movie. This from the New York Post. Irredeemable Batgirl movie gets shelved by Warner Bros. Despite $70 million price tag, according to a source. Now, from everything we'd been hearing up to this point, it just seemed like it was kind of a disaster waiting to happen, and it turns out I was right to think that. But let's get into this article. But first, I just want to point out this little GIF they have here, the Rotten Tomatoes on the Batgirl picture. I thought that was funny. They say, "Holy millions down the drain, Batman. The DC Comics film Batgirl will be completely shelved by Warner Bros." A top Hollywood source told the Post. That means it won't hit theaters or the streaming service HBO Max. Fans will not see it. And originally, it seemed like it was just going to be released on HBO Max, but there was also talk about it possibly being released in theaters. But now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be released anywhere. The reportedly $70 million movie, the source said the budget was actually more than $100 million, which I would expect. Like, the Marvel movies are between $150 million and Thor Love and Thunder is $250 million. So I would have expected at least $100 million. So that source seems more accurate. But the reportedly $70 million movie, the source said the budget was actually more than $100 million, which was doing test screenings for audiences in anticipation of a late 2022 debut, would rank among the most expensive cinematic cast-offs ever. Those tests were said to be so poorly received by moviegoers that the studio decided to cut its losses and run, for the sake of the brand's future. It's a DC disaster. They think an unspeakable Batgirl is going to be irredeemable, the source said. I mean, that's harsh coming from... I guess it's not coming from the New York Post, but coming from a source, that is really harsh to hear irredeemable. The Post has reached out to Warner Bros. For comment. It's been months-long walk of shame for the movie. Batgirl, directed by, I'm going to attempt these, Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, and Bad Boys for Life, I don't know if I said those right, received not a single mention at DC's Comic-Con panel in San Diego in July, which I guess should have been a red flag, but I hadn't heard anybody even talk about that. Didn't even realize it. An unusual move that raised industry eyebrows. The much publicized event, after all, is designed to boost exposure for forthcoming projects just like this one. Marvel's Comic-Con presentation, on the flip side, announced more than a dozen films in so-called Phases 5 and 6 of the MCU, to be released through fall 2025, with even more surely in the hopper. Batgirl, which stars Leslie Grace in The Heights in the title role, alongside J.K. Simmons, Michael Keaton, and Brendan Fraser, was originally planned for an HBO Max release. The fact that a movie with J.K. Simmons, Michael Keaton, and Brendan Fraser got canned is just almost unthinkable, you would think. So for this to be canned, it had to be really, really bad. The Puck newsletter reported in April that Warner Bros. Then chair Toby Emmerich was considering a theatrical run for the film too, like I said earlier, but Emmerich stepped down in June to form his own production company, not long after Warner Bros. Merged with Discovery and David Zaslav became CEO of the new entity. He replaced Emmerich with MGM's Michael DeLuca, who likely had to deliver the Bat News, there's a pun, and Pam Abdi. While the film's co-directors have done some scattered interviews about casting, studio's been mum on plans for Batgirl ever since, and it seems to me know why now. This really doesn't matter in this, but I just want to read it because it's funny. Shelving a multi-million-dollar effort would not be unusual for Zaslav, a ruthless cost-cutter. Remember, he's the same guy who gave the $300 million streaming service CNN Plus the axe just days after its splashy launch because it didn't snare enough subscribers. That's how badly the mainstream media has been doing. And he also, I don't think it's mentioned here, but CW, like just right after the merger happened, axed a bunch of shows. Granted, those don't cost nearly as much, but he axed a bunch of those shows. Even The Flash is ending after this next season. So he's not really afraid to bring out the axe, but I don't think he's going to do it for The Flash, because that definitely costs more than Batgirl here. but just very surprising news. I wasn't expecting to hear this today. But what do you think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, comment, share. Thanks for watching. I have another channel called The Thoughtful Outlaw Sports where I talk about basketball, baseball, football, and anything else sports related I'm interested in. So check that out if you care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.